Okay, boys and girls, welcome to part 2 of the video. Now we're going to do the multiple choice section. Again, I'm using Form D, so you might have to flip through yours to match up the questions. For the numbers, if you had A, B, or C. But here we go, let's start. Number 11 on this form said a box contains 4 slips of paper marked 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 slips are selected without replacement. List the possible values for the following random variable. X is the number of ones that you pull out. So you've got a box, and it's got that paper in there, and you're going to pull it out. So the first one, I could pull out a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. I don't know which one I get. But whatever I pull out, I'm going to keep and then pull another one out. So if I pulled out a 2, for instance, for the first time, then the next one could be a 1, or it could be a 3 and a 4. So if it were a 3 and a 4, so I ended up with, say, a 2 and a 3, that means I got 0 ones. Or once I pull a 1 out, that's the only one I can get. So there's no way I can get 2. So the values that I can get drawing out 2 slips of paper without replacement is just a 0 or a 1. So the answer to 11, or to this question, was A. Number 12, which of the following random variables are discrete? So discrete are things that are countable. So really a key word for that was number, the number of helium atoms and the number of balloons. Now it seems like we wouldn't really be able to count the number of helium atoms, but it doesn't matter because that's something that you could count, I guess, in theory. I guess you can ask Miss Anthony how well you could do. But that was 2 and 3 only, which is D. Number 13 tells us that 37% of the customers at a grocery store use an express checkout. Consider 4 randomly selected customers and let X denote the number among the 4 who use the express checkout. So we have a binomial situation here. Either the person uses express or the person doesn't use express. There's a fixed number of trials. We're only looking at 4 select customers. I'm assuming it's independent. So we're going to treat it as a binomial. So the probability of success, or using the express line, is 0.37. And we want to find the probability that X is less than or equal to 2. Now, here you could use your calculator if you'd wanted to and do a binomial CDF. Because that would calculate from 0 up. I'm going to choose to do it the old way and make myself a probability distribution real fast, because sometimes that helps you to see, to make sure you have a more logical answer. I mean, just typing stuff in on the calculator, you might get a number that you understand or don't understand, that makes sense or doesn't. So anyway, I'm going to generate this real fast. So the things that can happen among the 4 customers is I can have none go to the express line, 1 might go, 2 might go, 3 might go, 4 might go. All 4 might choose to go. And again, we're doing these independently. I bet there's no way I can write the probabilities in those small spaces, but I'm going to try. So, to find the probability of 0, and some of the stuff I'll do on my calculator you won't see. All right, there's only one way that can happen. That's nobody goes. And so that's just going to be the probability of not going, which is 0.63, times 0.63 times 0.63 times 0.63 times 0.63, or 0.63 to the 4th power. And so when I throw that in my calculator, it comes out to be 0.158. 0.158. That's the probability of 0. Now the probability of 1 is basically, I'll erase this stuff. It's going to be the 0.37 successful going to there. The other 3 chose not to. All right, but I also have to account for, is it the first customer that goes, or is it the second, or is it the third, or is it the fourth? There's 4 different ways that can happen, so I need to throw a 4 on there. Put that stuff in my calculator, and it comes out to be 0.372. Now, I could also use my calculator. That goes in there. I could also use my calculator to do a binomial PDF and generate these one at a time, or the CDF to do the whole thing. All right, let me erase that stuff, and let's do 2 people. So there's 2 successes, there's 2 failures. But now I need to account for, is it person 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, or is it 2 and 3, 2 and 4, or is it 3 and 4? Those are the different ways it could happen. How many did I count? I was about to get the calculator, but I was like, oh, we can do that. It could be 1 and 2, it could be 1 and 3, it could be 1 and 4, it could be 2 and 3, it could be 2 and 4, or it could be 3 and 4. So how many different ways could that happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different ways. So I'm going to put a 6 right there. And again, all I'm doing is what your calculator would do if you did a binomial PDF. That comes out to be 0.324. 324. All right, and so forth and so on. To do 4 customers, that's just going to be 0.37 to the 4th, because there's only one way that happens, and that's 0.019. And then for 3 people, it would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. It could be 2, 3, 4. And I feel like I'm missing one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Oh, 1, 3, 4. There's the one I'm missing, because I thought there should be 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 ways that can happen. So 4 ways it can happen. I'm going to have 3 successes and 1 failure. And when I do that, it comes out to be 0.128. So again, this question didn't have to take you this long to do, but it's helpful for me to make sure my answer makes sense. And I'm not just trusting that I type something in right on my calculator. So let's answer the question now. The probability x is less than or equal to 2. So that's this one, and this one added together. So 0.324 plus 0.372, I don't know, what's that going to be, 60, 71, around there? And then a 0.158, so I'm thinking that it's the 0.85 right here. B is what the answer was. And you can use your calculator to verify that. All right, number 14, determine the area under the z-curve to the right of negative 1.82. I really strongly encourage all of you to draw yourself pictures to make sure your answers are making sense. All right, so I know z-score 0 is right in the middle. So negative 1.82 is going to be over here somewhere. And I want the area to the right of that. So this is the area I'm looking for. So let's pretend that I had no idea how to do it on my calculator, or that I had no idea how to look it up in the table. If nothing else, I've eliminated that, and I've eliminated that, because my area has to be bigger than 0.5. Now, luckily, I do know how to read table A, and so I have 2 choices. Table A always gives you area to the left, so if you look up negative 1.82, it's going to give you that stuff right there. So whatever that number is, you would do 1 minus that, because you want the area to the right. What I did instead was, I know that the normal curve is perfectly symmetrical. And so if I look up 1.82, positive 1.82, and it gives me this area to the left, this area, well, you can't see that I'm pointing to it, but this area and this area are the same. So those are 2 ways to do it. And then you could also use your calculator. and do the normal distribution there. I use the table, and I arrived at that. So B is the answer for that one. All right, number 15 was kind of interesting. I ended up throwing 15 out, or 15 on Form D. This question, I gave everyone correct. So no matter what you put, you got this one correct. And here's the reason I threw it out. When I read this, it says the air pressure, that's something I measure. That's continuous. The diameter of an automobile tire, that's something I get a ruler out and I measure it. So that would be continuous. Then it says the number of miles traveled by an automobile tire. If it's number, and it's probably something I'm reading off an odometer, if it's one of those really old odometers that are the analog ones that roll around, then you could argue that it's continuous, but almost all odometers are digital now, which means it's going to be discrete because there's a finite number of values that it can take on. I guess not finite, but it can't be any value because it only goes to 0 decimal places or 1 decimal place or whatever. So I would argue that that was discrete. And so it says, which of the following variables are continuous? Well, 1 and 2 are. And then 1 and 2 wasn't a choice. So I said, well, maybe they meant 1, 2, and 3. So, I don't know. The answer key said none, which was weird. I would have thought it would have been D, but really I would have argued that it was 1 and 2. That's how I would have interpreted that. So I just threw this one out, and everyone got it correct. All right, let's go down to 16. Suppose fundraisers call recent graduate donations to campus outreach program. Consider real X donations. What's the probability X is less than or equal to 25? Okay, this is a good one. Hopefully we all got this one right. Again, for discrete, you have to watch for that less than or equal to sign. So that's going to be this one, and this one added together. And even though it's only 721, I bet we can do that one in our head. 0.35 plus 0.15 is going to make 0.5, and 0.5 plus 0.4 makes 0.9. So the answer for this one is D. It is awfully early to be making videos in the morning. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Chemical supply company currently has in stock 100 pounds of certain chemical, sells to customers 5-pound lots. Let the number of lots choose, probability of X. All right. So we are going to find the mean of this. So I have two choices. You can put this number in L1. You can put this one in L2. Then you can do one variable statistics, or we call it one var stat, of L1 comma L2, or if you have the stat wizard, L1 is first, and then your frequency list is L2. And you're just going to look for X bar. But that, I think, will take longer than doing it by hand. Because if you remember from the true-false section, that the mean is equal to the sum of X times P of X. And then we look at these numbers and go, oh, these are really nice numbers. I can multiply all these in my head and just add them up. So 2 times 0.1 is 0.2. 3 times 0.4 is 1.2. 4 times 0.2 is 0.8. And 5 times 0.3 is 1.5. And then I just got to add them up. So that's 0.4. Then it's 12. And so 7, carry my 1, 2, 3. 3.7 a choice. Hey, it is. That's always a good thing. So this one should have been E. And again, you can verify on your calculator if you want to. All right, number 18. Suppose X is a continuous random variable. Probability distribution shown below. What are probabilities represented by the shaded area? So again, probability for continuous random variables is just the area under the curve, and they've shaded from 20 up to looks about like 50, and so it's going to be that one. Nothing else really to do for that. All right, number 19. A gasoline tank for a certain car is designed to hold 19 gallons of gas. Suppose the random variable X equals actual capacity of a randomly selected tank in the distribution occurred to me. So you've got a normal with 19 and 0.2, and you want the probability at least 18.9. So you want this. And remember, for continuous, it doesn't matter if you put the equal to sign or not. I do. So, can't encourage you enough not to draw yourself pictures. And let's find my z-score real fast. Whoa, look at that z go. All right, it's going to be 18.9 minus 19 divided by 0.2. That's negative 0.1 over 0.2, which is just negative 1 over 2, or negative 0.5. So there is z equals 0. So negative 0.5 is going to be here, roughly. And I want greater than, so I'm looking for this area. So just logically, I can look over here and say, and no, it's not A, no, it's not B, no, it's not D, because it's not the whole thing. So even if I can't use my calculator to find it, or even if I can't use table A, if you draw yourself a picture and give yourself a better idea of what you're actually looking for, then you can eliminate a lot of answers sometimes. So I'm going to grab table A, and I'm going to guess that it's going to tell me it's 0.69. And I'm going to do that trick again where instead of looking up the negative and subtracting, I'm going to look up the positive, because it's going to give me that thing and it's symmetrical. Anyway, that was a long way to tell you that the answer was E, 0.69. Let's see what funds next. Business has 5 customers. This is that. Okay, this time we're finding the standard deviation. Now, when I did the mean before, they were really friendly numbers, and it wasn't so big, and I did it by hand. This one looks a little more involved with number-wise. So let's go over how to do it in your calculator. Oh, I can't find my copy. Oh, there it is. All right, here we go. So I'm going to pull my calculator up, and hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to do stat, edit. Wow, look at all that stuff I have in there. So I'm going to back out and do second, quit. Nope, second, quit. This might have been a bad idea. Second, memory. Oh, this probably was a bad idea. Second, memory. Clear all lists. Enter. Done. Stat. Edit. Okay, now we're ready. So I'm going to come over here to L1. And luckily, I think I can use the keyboard to do this part. Thank goodness, instead of trying to use that pen. So I'm going to throw in my x values first. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then in L2, I'm going to put the corresponding probabilities. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.35, 0.15, 0.15, and 0.05. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to do stat, calculate, one variable statistics. Now it defaults to L1, but since I want to use a frequency list, I'm going to do L1, comma, there it goes, L2, and enter. and we're trying to find the standard deviation, which is sigma, and it's 1.326, so 1.33. And there's 1.33 there. So this answer was B. All right, that concludes the multiple choice section of the test. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I did.